Lawyers have concluded their closing arguments in the assault case that's believed to be racially motivated at the Grobersdal Magistrate Court. The accused, Peter Groneveldt and Stefan Gief, face an assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm for allegedly setting a dog on their security guard employee. The state has opposed bail, stating that the pair's lives may be endangered if released on bail. For more on this story, we cross now to my colleague Pimani Baloy, who's been tracking the story for us. A very good afternoon, Pimani. Tell us more.
Good afternoon, Mpumelelo, and good afternoon to our viewers. Indeed, as you rightfully stated, closing arguments have been wrapped up inside this court behind me, where we saw both the state and defense giving a summary of just what their main points are in opposing bail and also in applying for that bail. To start with, we had the state reiterating the points that they made through the investigating officer that when he appeared on that witness stand. The first point was that the safety of the two accused, stating that we had the investigating officer stating that there were threats sent to the cell phone of the partner of one of the accused, threatening to attack him should he be released on bail. But then the second point was the safety of state witnesses, stating that if the accused, we had the investigating officer in the stand talking about how one of the state witnesses were transported, allegedly kidnapped, a day after the arrest, and they suspected that the two accused could have been involved, stating that should they be released on bail, their lives could be in danger. Also, the state stating that about most of the accused are under the employment of the accused. So if the state witness are outside and the accused are outside, they might be endangered. But the third point was about that there might be instability in the community, because there's a lot of, you've seen protesters outside court in Mpumelelo stating that should they be arrested, that could worsen. But the defense in its closing argument reiterated yet again that this safety concern is unwarranted, because as we stated, the two accused are owners of a security company. They have surveillance cameras all around their premises. There are guard dogs around their premises. They don't understand why their safety could be, the state keeps saying their safety could be compromised if released on bail, but also stating that the state's point that one of the accused, Mr. Groneveldt, absconded. There was no evidence given to court to second that. It just shows that he was only tried 12 years after his first apprehension, but there was no proper evidence given to court to say he absconded. So it's not true that he's a flight risk. It's not true that he might abscond. There was just no evidence of any of that. But also further reiterating that ever since this arrest, according to the defense, this assault was actually a human resources matter between an employer and his employee, but it has been blown out of proportion, and they cited the visit by the police and correctional services ministers in one of the court appearances, the visit by the Premier of Limpopo, the visit by various politicians outside court daily, saying, you know, this was just an HR matter that has been blown out of proportion to be made a political ball as we head into elections. But these are some of the considerations that the magistrate will be making, and the case will go back in court at around 1:45, where the judgment on this bail application will be delivered. But to speak more about the state's hopefulness on their case, I'm joined by the NPA spokesperson here in Limpopo, Ms. Mashudu Marabijangi. Mashudu, you've wrapped up your closing arguments. What are you hoping for, and what are some of the main points that you made inside court?
And indeed, we are looking forward to get a positive judgment regarding this case of Groneveldt. The state is opposing their bail application due to the fact that accused number 2, we've learned later that he was having the 2 previous convictions of murder plus attempted murder, and he served for almost 10 years on that regard. And then we know that up to so far, there is another matter which came to court because of this matter. The people who have appeared already in court, they were charged for public violence because of this case. And already today, they've appeared, almost 3 people. They're going to join Francois, who have already appeared. in court last week.
Let's take this from the top, Mashudu. I understand that when Mr. Groenewald and Mr. Greef applied for bail, their first time coming to apply for bail, there was somebody who was arrested, Mr. Francois van der Merwe, and the state in that matter kept saying more arrests are pending. Are you saying to us there's been additional arrests? How many people have been arrested and what are the charges?
Yes, indeed, it is true. There are people who have handed themselves to the police today in the morning. They've already appeared here. There are 3, except one old man who have handed the sick note that is not well. There were supposed to be 4.
Thank you so much, Mashudu. As Mashudu was explaining, yes, this is a matter that has escalated from that first incident where we've seen one suspect apprehended. He's already applied for bail. His bail application is due to be continue on Thursday, this coming Thursday. But as Mashudu was explaining, 4 additional people were apprehended, one of which only came through his lawyer. And we understand that they've made their first court appearance. And as we've seen in the bail application of Mr. Francois van der Merwe, he was a convener of a group of people that protested outside court. And we do remember that during that protest, they were carrying flags that have been identified as flags of the old Transvaal government that they were carrying around. And from Mr. van der Merwe's affidavit in court, that protest was led by an organization called the Bitter Enders, and Mr. van der Merwe was cited as the first of 2 conveners of that protest. So we understand that the other convener of that protest has also been apprehended alongside 2 additional people that are somehow linked to that organization. They did appear, they did have their first court appearance inside this court. As Mashudu was stating, it was a brief court appearance and they are expected to come back in court probably next week. I'm not sure when it was postponed to, but they also are expected to continue with that bail application. So right now, Nempumelelo, there are actually about a total of 7 people that have been arrested for this, including the 2 main people that were arrested. One who was arrested during their first court appearance, and the 4 that today had their first court appearance. Nempumelelo.
Thanks very much for that comprehensive report, my colleague there, Pimani Baloy.